the costs went beyond just the damage that was done by the rioters. The cost for the Black Lives Matter protests, you have to also include the emergency mobilizations of the guard, the police, barricades that were put out, extra bodyguard services or security services that were paid for by the companies trying to protect their properties. I got some contracts to help provide security for some very large American companies that were concerned that these mobs would come and attack their facilities and destroy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of technology. Spiking insurance rates. After all of this took place, you can imagine that insurance companies that lost $500 million in Minneapolis alone are going to raise the rates for people because it's obviously more likely that that sort of thing may happen again. They also had to defer or cancel services like trash pickup and bus services, bus routes, taxis. I mean, I think it's very likely that Waymo taxis are going to be sort of blocked from going into certain neighborhoods in Los Angeles, at least, for the foreseeable future because of this. We saw this happening where the rioters called a bunch of Waymo taxis to one location and then set them all on fire. This happening while Maxine Waters is telling everybody that there is no actual violence taking place. I'm not sure what you call that, but that looks a lot like violence to me. I don't know. So this weekend is going to be lit, folks. I talked about that on yesterday's live. This No Kings movement, nokings.org, has planned over 1,800 protests, which could easily turn into riots across the United States. 1,800 different cities across the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that there will be protests and riots in 1,800 cities. That just means that they are calling for protests in those cities and trying to get people to show up. And I'm going to talk a little bit in a minute about how foreign entities like the Russians and the Chinese are assisting this organization in doing that, whipping up sentiment against the government and getting people out there to riot. All right. So we saw, in addition to the costs of vandalism and property destruction, businesses being looted, et cetera, et cetera. You got spiking insurance rates. After that, you've got a shrinking city tax base because all of those companies had to close, all those mom and pop shops. Less than 5% of them have reopened in Minneapolis since the riots of 2020 on Lake Street specifically. So you can imagine that that's a massive hit to the tax base because the city gets a lot of its revenue from these small businesses paying their taxes. So these small businesses are saying, screw it, we're out of here. I'm gone. And what that means is these cities are going to be hurting, and that causes retail closures, causes out migration. The increased property taxes causes more out migration, and it becomes a vicious cycle, and it leads to this absolute draining, what they call white flight. It's not just white people, it's just smart people that are leaving these urban areas. Anybody who can leave is leaving. So then you get the food desert. You get the people who are stuck there that don't have the chance to leave, that they have to go much further to get groceries and to get food and to get, the supplies that they need because the local businesses have all gone out of business. This is happening in not just places like, LA and Chicago. This is happening in upscale places like that were once upscale, like Seattle and Portland. And that adds to the total cost of these riots. So just imagine, I mean, just add this up. The people who live in these cities like Minneapolis, they still have to eat. And so they got to go get groceries. And so if it takes them an extra 10 minutes or an extra 20 minutes to find a grocery store now, because all the little mom and pop grocery stores in their city have gone away, well, that extra gasoline or that extra bus fare continues to add to the cost long term of these riots. And we're talking about everybody there, lots of people. So it's probably something like, oh gosh, we're talking like billions of dollars more. And that's not even calculable. You can't even figure that out.